Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I am Thlologelo Promise Rampa and this is Relocate to Australia with Promise. It is your number one DIY relocation platform, certified by myself. So if you're looking to relocate anywhere in this world, especially Australia, and you don't have this money to pay an agent, you can do it yourself. I have done it myself. And if you're looking for the information on how you can also do it, you are at the right channel. So don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to do all the things that people do when they're here on YouTube, okay? So today is Mother's Day. That's why I comb out my hair. I'm joking. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, to my mom, my grandma, my aunties, my cousins, and everybody, okay? Happy Mother's Day to also the aunties and aunticles and everybody who's involved in the process of raising children. Happy Mother's Day. We celebrate you today, and I also celebrate myself. So I comb my hair today. African hair is never messy hair. If you've seen me look all messy and raggedy, I was not messy and raggedy. I was just being African. I combed out my hair today because it was easy to comb it out. That's it. Okay, let's get on to the business of the day. So today, guys, I want to talk to you guys about your fear or the fear of relocating abroad, right? The reason why I felt this topic was very important is because a lot of people that I engage with, I can sense this level of fear with them, and I do understand where they're coming from because I've been there. I've been at that place where I was just calculating so many things about this whole relocation thing, and I'm like, And I do remember how it was like having everything in your brain tell you, why do you want to do this? Why are you doing this? You know this is going to fail, you know? And I feel like I spend a lot of time trying to encourage them, to kind of push them and motivate them enough to say that, you know what, I know you're going to be scared, but this is something that you can do. A lot of people have done it. And I'm pretty sure when they were doing it, they were also scared to do it. I don't think anyone ever relocates and is like, yeah, I'm 100% sure that I'm doing this without any level of fear. So for anyone who's thinking about relocating and you're having all those doubts and all those fears, you're not the only one. You're literally not the only one going through that. I believe everyone or most people that have relocated have experienced that. Especially if you've been a person that has never been out of your country, like you've never been anywhere like me. I had never been anywhere because, as you know, I'm from Matlapang College. So we don't do traveling things. That's not our thing. We can't afford it. So when you are that kind of a person and you have not been exposed to the outside world and you don't know what to expect when you get there, it can be frightening and you can be very nervous and very scared, and that sometimes makes you want to pull back. And I do understand the fear as well. A lot of people ask me a lot of questions where I'm like, you can never really be ready. Like they ask questions like, Promise, what am I going to do when I get there? Like, am I going to find a job? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Let me tell you, one thing for sure that's going to happen to you when you get to Australia, for as long as you've done your skills assessment and you've got a visa that allows you to get a job here, it's very easy to get employment in Australia. That is a given. So don't let that be one of your stresses, because I'm telling you, it is going to be much more easier to get a job for as long as you have met the requirements for the visa and the requirements for you to fulfill that job. And even if, let's say, for example, you come with your partner, the partner is the one that has the skills and you don't as a spouse, let's say, for example, you can find employment at like your KFC and Coles, and those minimum wages, they pay very well where you can be able to support yourself until you work yourself up to something. A lot of people do that. You won't really understand this and know this until you actually get here. And as I said, if you have not traveled and you've not been out there and you've not been exposed to the world out there, you will not understand this and you will not know this until you actually get into it. So for people that are scared and they are nervous about this process and what's going to happen with me and is this the right thing that I'm going to be doing, I'm telling you, you're never going to be ready. You are just never going to be ready. It's just one of those things that you have to do even on fear mode. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. So if you're trying to do something outside of your comfort zone, your brain has these blinkers going like, yay. You remember the last time you spent money to do something, it failed. And that's what's going to happen with you also with this process. You're going to do the skills assessment, for example. Let's just do an example of the skills assessment. You're going to get your information, gather your information and feel like, okay, I'm ready. I've got my documents. And you get to that point where they're like, okay, fine, you need to spend this money for the skills assessment. And your brain is going to go, yay. Yay. What if this is your last money and you don't have any other money? How are you going to do it? How you cope? How are you going to pay for your car? How are you going to pay for this? And the anxiety is going to go all over the place, trying to stop you from actually doing what you need to do in order to get this thing done. And that's why I always say this. It is very important to know why you're doing this, because that reason is the one that's going to overcome this fear. So even when your brain is telling you, don't pay for the skills assessment because this is your last money, you don't have any other. What are you going to eat tomorrow? And that time, you know you've got a job. But your brain is going to tell you that it's going to be like, what if this happened? What if you got an emergency? What if this? What if that? And you have to operate in a place where you're like, okay, fine. I do understand my fears. Let me just do the calculations of what is the worst case scenario and what would I do then. And once you have done that and gotten to breaking down what you are scared of, and you get on to dealing with that, and sometimes you don't even get to that point of breaking it down to understand what is it that you're scared of. Sometimes you just have to do it scared. And I remember when we did our process, me and my husband, we were scared. We were literally scared. I think it also helped because it was me and him. So we were supporting each other and kind of like encourage each other. Sometimes I felt like we were lying to each other when you're like, yeah, we got this, man. Yeah, we got this. But you can see the fear in his eyes. But it's better because I felt, in a way, I felt like I had somebody to lean on. So if you are doing this alone, you're going to have to depend on yourself. And this is the thing. Sometimes when you're doing these things alone and you're having all these conversations alone, you have to be very mindful of the crowd that you're keeping. Because if you're going to be talking to someone and that person, and it comes from love. Let's say, for example, it's a sister, your mother, or maybe your best friend, where you're telling them, you know, Chomi, I'm thinking of doing this thing and I'm so scared because I'll be using the last money that I've got on this planet and I'm not too sure that it's going to work out. You need someone that's going to encourage you. You need someone that's going to tell you that, you know what, it's better to risk it and learn from that lesson rather than to sit down and not do anything and let life pass you by. And this is the thing. Sometimes you're going to have friends, families, and these people love you, right? These people love you, but I think they're also coming from a place of wanting to protect you from disappointment, because how are they going to deal with you now once this thing has flopped and then you come back to face them, you know, all those kind of things. But the best thing in which you can do for yourself is to trust that this is something that is going to work out. A lot of people have relocated. Trust me, I've seen it with my eyes. But the main thing is you need to overcome that fear. You need to overcome that fear of not knowing what you're getting yourself into. And this is the thing. We now have social media. So we are seeing people. And I remember being on the other side. I remember being in South Africa and I'd somehow see, like, you know, on Instagram, sometimes when you're scrolling, you see somebody who's maybe from South Africa, but they're living somewhere else, like maybe China or the US, and you're watching their lives and you're like, wow, I wonder what this would feel like. You can't live your life from just wondering all the time. No, sometimes you just have to say, okay, I'm done with the wondering. I'm done thinking, how would this feel like? I want to experience it. And this is one of those things. With relocating, you really have to be open to life experiences, because it is a big life experience and it is something that is going to be life-changing. So you need to be open to those lessons that are going to come with this relocation journey. It is one of those things you're going to look back and either you're going to say, wow, I was never ready for this, or you're going to say, I've learned a lot from this and this is what I've taken out of this whole process. And if I can do this big thing and achieve it, what else can I achieve? And you can only do that once you get over that fear. But if you're going to be this one person who's thinking, I want to do this, I want to jump, I want to really do this, but you can't get your brain to actually get out of the noise in your head for you to actually get onto the doing of things. So you need to be so mentally strong. You need to be so mentally strong where you are in control of your brain. And what I mean by that is you tell your brain, okay, you've complained enough now. Can I get on to the doing of things? You need to get yourself where the good voice is louder than the yep ones. Because the ones who are just telling you nonsense, if they take over, you're going to end up not doing what you need to do. You're going to end up not achieving your dreams because these little ones were too loud. So you need to get your good ones, your good voice, the one that tells you all the good things. Somebody might say it's God. Somebody might say it's your ancestors. Somebody might say whatever. But the good voice that talks to you and tells you, you've got this. And even if it doesn't work out, you can bounce back because you've got that bounce back power. So you need to get yourself used to having those good conversations with yourself to say, you know what? I'm going to do this. So train your brain, guys. Train your brains. Jimisa your brain. You must Do push-ups with your brain where you are in control and you are the one telling your brain, this is how it's going to play out. I'm not negotiating this with you. We are going to do this my way. But if your brain has somehow managed to overtake you, your inner you are in trouble. You are in trouble. And for as long as you have not categorized the voices that talk to you in your head to say these are the good ones and these are the bad ones, you're in trouble, because you need to recognize the bad ones. The bad ones are always going to tell you to pull back. The bad ones are always going to tell you you're not good enough, you're not worthy. Why do you think you're special right now? That's what the bad ones are going to tell you. They're going to remind you of your traumas. They're going to remind you of where you come from, how you come from a shaking Soweto. How the hell do you think you're going to make it out there? That's what the bad ones are going to say. You have tried it before and you have failed. And now what do you think is going to turn out different? That's what they're going to tell you. And the good ones will tell you, these are all lessons. These are all lessons. You just take them as lessons and you just move on. The good ones are going to tell you that you're worthy. The good ones are going to tell you that no matter where you come from, your background does not define where you're going. That's what the good ones are going to tell you. So you have to get to the process of separating the good and the bad, and be very mindful of which one has taken over at which point in time in your life. So if you need to make a very drastic, big decision in your life and you can hear the negative more than the good one, reevaluate that. Introspect and be like, why am I hearing the bad more than the good? What is it? What's going on? And introspect and go deep within to say, oh, okay, this is coming from my trauma when I experienced 1, 2, 3. This is coming from my background. This is coming from when my dad told me I was not good enough. This is coming from, be able to have those conversations with yourself. Trust me, you will save a lot of money. You won't need a psychologist. And also train your brain to have more good conversations. Because if you can get yourself to having more good conversations in your head, your life is going to be much more easier. Don't allow fear to stop you from getting the life that you want. Don't allow fear to stop you from being great. Don't allow fear to stop you from you living the life that you know you are deserving of. You know that this is the life that I have sat down and prayed about. So guys, you're going to just have to operate in fear. You're going to have to name out your fear. You're going to have to write it down. You're going to have to say, this is what I'm afraid of. What is the worst case scenario? And how am I going to overcome this? You need to do that for yourself. Until you have gotten to that level of mental strength, it is going to be very hard for you to open yourself to life experiences. And again, open yourself to life experiences, meaning the good and the bad, because you cannot open yourself up to life experiences only for the good. It does not operate like that. So the good is going to come with the bad. So you just need to train yourself enough to take the bad when it comes and to accept and appreciate and cherish the good and bask in it for a long time. Because once you are done with the good, the bad is coming. One of the ways in which I've learned to overcome my fears in life is to be very centered. So I'm now in a space where, I feel like I've worked so much to get myself where I am right now, where I don't have too much noise in my head. And what I mean by too much noise is that I'm not occupied with things that drag me down and things that pull me down. So I'm able to get good vibrations, right? I'm able to know, and I'm very centered in my emotions and understanding him. And I can tell things. I'm like, you're not okay. What's wrong with you? So when I start to get scared, I go within and I introspect and I'm like, okay, what is this that you're feeling? And then something is like, I'm actually scared. And I'm like, okay, you're scared. Now what is it that you need to do? What are you scared about? Okay, I'm scared about this not working out. So what will happen if it doesn't work out? Okay, I would have failed. Okay, then what after you failed? I might have to come up with another plan. So that's what I do in order to minimize fear overtaking, me. Because if I was not self-aware of myself, if I was not self-aware, I don't think I would have been able to have that. I think I would have just been a person that was operating from fear, and I would allow fear to just stop me from doing anything. But I'm able to kind of feel the vibration when I'm like, there's something stopping you from doing what you do. It's just like with my WhatsApp group. I've started my WhatsApp group for this whole relocation thing. And I remember I used to be scared. Like, it's one of those things that stopped me from doing it because I was scared, because I'm like, what am I going to do with these people? What am I going to say to them? So something just said to me, you know what, Promise, just do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does, good. But just do it. It's better to try it out and have it fail than to never have done it and not known if it was going to fail or not. And that's the thing that I'm going to say to you guys as well. This is one of those things where you're like, you know what? Just try it out. Try it out. You can always back out at any point in time. Recognize what you're going through within. And once you have done that and you can name exactly what it is that you're going through within, then you can have strategies on how to get yourself out of that dump. Because I'm telling you, sitting with fear will sit with you and it will comfort you. Fear will have you here and be like, all right, my friend, let's chill. Let's chill together. That time you're sitting with fear, 1 year goes by, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, papara, you are 50. You look back, fear is like, okay, now you're almost at the end of your life. Now I can leave you. And then you're like, what? You're leaving me. You've been accompanying me all these years. Why are you leaving me now? It's like, now it's time to introduce regret. And that's what's going to happen. Because you would have sat with fear for far too long. When you could have said, fear, please move aside. Go somewhere and play with someone else. We are not playing me and you. Fear must be your worst enemy. It must be that thing where you're like, angikfuni tuze nam. When you see fear coming, you must be fear. Please, fear, leave me. Leave me, fear. Leave me alone. Sometimes it requires you to pray and you're like, God, here's this thing trying to bother my life. Please take it away so that you can operate in faith. Fear will nurse you. Fear, it will nurse you. It will build, you know what? It will build so much comfort. It will comfort you and be like, come here, baby. Let me comfort you. Papara. You have not done anything with your life because you were scared. And now when it leaves and it brings in regret to come and accompany you for the rest of your life, all of a sudden you are angry, you are mungu, you are not good. Anyone that is younger than you, you don't encourage them to do anything with their lives because that is the belief that you had. That is the belief that you held for so many years, and that's the only thing that you know. And you're trying to teach that to the next generation. Don't allow it. Do not allow it. Don't sit with fear. Do not sit with fear. Kick that thing away. And the other thing that's very important about this process is that you need to learn how to walk in faith and not by sight. Where you tell yourself, okay, fine, I can only believe it when I see it. It does not work like that with this. You will have to believe it by just believing in it. That's it. And that's walking by faith, where you say, you know what, I am faithful in this. And I believe this is going to work out for me. And that's something that you have to tell your brain. It is going to happen. And even if it doesn't happen right now and doesn't happen today, I'm going to fight for it until it happens. And if you're that one person who's like, I need to see it first to believe it, this is not like buying diamonds. Okay, it's not like you have to get the diamond to see that it's real. This is one of those things where you might just be getting into a shady diamond deal, but you have to believe that you might come out of it rich. I hope you've learned something from this video. I'm telling you guys, this is what has helped me with my mental health. This is what has helped me with overcoming a lot of things and achieving a lot of things. Because I feel like I've achieved a lot. So this is one of those things that have helped me to achieve and be where I am today. And I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. Nobody that does this is perfect. We are just human beings going through a human experience. And I've just allowed myself to be open to life experiences just for me to go through this life thing. If I can do it, so can you. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about anyone that has done this. We are not special. We're not selected from... There's nothing special. We're just ordinary people. I'm just an ordinary girl from a village called Siyabuswa, born, bred in Khobokwane, lived in Marana. You don't even know these places. But I'm in Australia. I'm on YouTube and I'm doing this life thing. So you can also do it. You just need to believe in yourself and you need to walk in faith. Walk in faith and believe that this is something that you're worthy of. And that's how you're going to overcome the fear. So take care and I will see you again next week. Goodbye.